Hi, everybody. I am Jessica Koch, and this is Profound Professionals. I am super excited to share with you industry leaders from all over the world, the way they inspire, the way they uniquely show up and share and guide others, as well as the amazing causes they care about. Today, I have an amazing guest, and it is Kayla Douthitt. And I am super excited to have her. She is I have already just got to know her this short amount of time. She is funky and spunky and super passionate about spreading body positivity and kicking diets to the curb all year long. All year long, we need this. We need to kick diets to the curb. We need a healthy mindset. Kayla, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm super excited. She is in Kentucky. My son was there, stationed in that area for a very long time. So, and I think her accent is beautiful.
I can't hide it.
Well, it's lovely. We adore it. So tell us, how did you get passionate about this topic and how did you start this company? Just tell us a little bit about your journey and your story.
Sure. So I struggled with anorexia and binge eating for 10 years. And of course, the yo yo dieting previous to that. Started really comparing myself to people around middle school. I played softball and I just started recognizing I wasn't as fast or maybe I needed to pitch better.
So I struggled with anorexia and binge eating for 10 years. And of course, the yo yo dieting previous to that. Started.
Sound. Go ahead.
Keep going. Okay.
Yeah.
So I struggled with the struggled with the comparison in softball, and then I started going from there to like really being super hard on myself. And then in high school, really wanted to fit in, got into that whole peer pressure sort of, and then 15 started a diet just to lose weight because I thought I needed to, and then it struggled with trying to lose it faster. So then I was just like, if I could start skipping meals at lunch and then eventually at home, I could keep going. If I would just skip one more meal or, maybe not eat a salad and then nothing else or just really restrictive. And then that got into the whole anorexia. And then with the anorexia, I was undernourished. So then it got into the whole binge eating, trying to compensate from not eating and just back and forth. And then depression and anxiety that kind of came along with that for 10 years. And then about 8 years ago now, I had to count back. I started recovery. So 25, started having panic attacks, started having just really sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's my phrase, but just didn't know what to do, but I just didn't want to live like that forever. So I just really didn't know what to do. But I remember having a panic attack, called my mother-in-law, and she had previous panic attacks, so she kind of walked me through it. And then
so beautiful that you have a mother-in-law that you can do that
she's
with.
very blunt, so I was kind of scared.
I love my mother-in-law. She has
Yeah.
been a hero for me, but I'm so glad that you had that kind of support.
Yeah.
And how did she walk you through it? What did she
So
take you through?
she basically just looked at me and said, "Are you going to do this forever? You going to live like this? You want a kid, you can't have a kid. Like you're struggling every day, but you're not really telling a lot of people." And I don't know, just told me like it was. And it offended me, but also like woke me up in that way. And then from that point, I was ready. I say ready, not really, but a little bit ready. And then just started recovery, went to counseling and therapy, and then got into my coaching about 4 years ago.
So are you a certified coach, or did you start this from experience, or what did you go through from the coaching standpoint?
So I have a lot of lived experience, but then also some certifications through NEDA and then some mental health certificates through a local community college. So really just a mix of both.
Oh, really? That's fabulous that you have that background, that education. I can really relate to this story. I mentioned to you before we got on the call, I really hadn't thought about it in years, and not too many people know it about me. But when I was in high school, I didn't eat most of the time, and then like you, I would eat a whole bunch, and then unfortunately, I would give it back. So that whole anorexic bulimia thing is a real thing, and I actually was hospitalized for it. It was quite severe, and I think the real thing that cured me was finally, like you said, wanting to have a child and knowing that I had to take better care of myself because there was another human, in resident, right? Like
Yeah.
somebody else was there. And then my big fear was once I got through that, I wanted to be be around, because I had heard about, there was a singer, a folk singer that when I was a kid growing up, I listened to her music from my mom, and I can't remember her name right now, but she had been anorexic and died,
Yeah.
and sung such beautiful songs. And I thought, I don't want that to be my life. I want to be around for my children. And how do I was afraid to death once I had that baby out of me. What am I going to do to stay the course? Right. Because I didn't have a coach like you. And back then they didn't talk about it as much,
No.
and so I decided that I would nurse the baby as long as humanly, I nursed him until he was, before he was 2, we stopped. But, I nursed for a long time because I kept thinking, okay, I've got to put healthy food into my body to make a good food for my baby. And that sticking with it all through that 9 months, they say a habit for 3 months. But when you have a disorder like this, it takes much longer to cure it. So between that 9 months and then those years, taking care of my child, I think that's what really helped me step away from those patterns and making a conscious effort not to let myself get back into them. Or whereas now I have a different unhealthy relationship with food. I mean, I don't know that truly. I just am much more curvier, and I've had a hard time, being 49 and fabulous, and my body changing and hormones and things. I'm not where I want to be yet, and I haven't found that healthy solution for a balance of my healthy being, both my weight as well as my like endurance and exercise. So talk to us more about how people work with you and how they achieve that that healthy path. Because I kayak, I hike, I roller skate, I ride bikes, I do things, but I'm also here sitting in the world of Zoom with everyone else. And I actually have free weights here, and I have the thing where you can stand up, and I'm trying to incorporate those things, but I haven't created habits around being consistent with those things yet. So how do we begin working with you if we know someone is having a struggle, or we think we're on the border or the edge of having a struggle? How do we begin to change that?
It really starts with warning signs. That's what I talk with parents about. So I help parents and individuals, and of course the parents' children, a mixture of both. But just really knowing the warning signs, especially that's something that, from a parent's perspective, a lot of times can be easily missed because I hid everything. I hid it so well. My mom knew some, but not all of it. And I just, because I didn't tell her and I didn't want to talk about it. And just knowing the warning signs, that's like a very first step.
Well, my parents had no clue. A matter of fact, they didn't find out until they hugged me. And because I wore such big baggy clothes that, I was a teenager. So of course I showered myself and I did all the things myself. So they didn't know.
Yes.
And it wasn't, I don't think that even that they weren't paying attention. It was just, I was really good at hiding it.
Yes. I think they thought mine would be a phase. Oh, she's losing weight. Now she'll be back. Because it was back and forth for a while. And I think I
was always a beanpole. So I just was more of a beanpole than they realized.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I think the warning signs are the first step. And then also communication. You have to be open and willing to communicate, even if it feels hard and scary. Maybe it may make your child, from a parent's perspective, it may make your child upset because you confront them about it. But really, you just have to open up and let them open up. It may take them a while to tell you everything, but having that open communication, that definitely helps too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just children though, right? I struggled as a young adult to get through that and was able to, fortunately. And so did you, it sounds like, talking with your mother-in-law. So it's not just children, but do you work with children then? Do you work with?
I do parents, children, and then also individuals. Yes. So mixture of both.
Wonderful, because there's so many, amazing counselors and support out there, and they don't always have the opportunity to be open to work with kids, because kids are a really special category, and not all people have the training or the background to do that. And I think it's beautiful that you do. So people can just reach out to you via your website to work with you, correct?
Yes.
And when you see this live stream or this interview, and you check the article, check the links below, we're going to have all the ways that you can reach Kayla. Is there anything else you want to share about your business before we
No, I just I'm excited. I'm thankful to keep, like I said, spreading awareness about
Yes.
no more dieting and all that stuff, because I think that it's something that we are starting to talk more about, but it's always something that can never be told enough.
What are some things someone could do today that would help them? I mean, I know trying to get, we should watch for warning signs, but what are some things if we're struggling right now? What's our first step?
I want to say self-care. That's like the very first thing that I had to do that I didn't do. And so in recovery, like with the counseling and therapy, like getting to the meat of the situation, or what phrase you want to use, just getting that self-care practice. Because if you don't make time for yourself, you lose yourself in a way. Like I just didn't have that. I was always doing everything for everybody else, but nothing for myself. And then I just didn't care. I was just like, no, people pleaser, all that stuff. So I just think self-care is a first step. Even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, even if you think you can't fit it in a day, 5 or 10 minutes of just sitting in a quiet place, that helps.
Do something nice for yourself. And if you are really struggling, I always give the non-disclosure as the mother of so many children. I always say, I'm not your mom, I'm not your attorney, you're a medical provider, you're a lawyer, any of those things. I'm not your financial provider, but we are telling you, if you need help, reach out to someone, reach out to Kayla, reach out to your local hospital, your local doctor, anyone, to begin the first steps of getting real professional help and care. So that's super, super important. All right. Well, let's talk. Your cause ties right into your whole beautiful story, Kayla. Let's talk a little bit about your cause.
Sure. So I decided to do the National Eating Disorder Association because, again, the whole eating disorder thing, right? So giving back to those people that I once was, honestly, giving back to the people that are still struggling and trying to recover. And that's really important to me, because they just need to know recovery is possible. Because at that point, when I started recovery, I didn't know I would end up where I'm at right now. I thought, not really, like it's not going to happen. So just being able to give back to National Eating Disorder Association is just really helps me heal just as much as I hope I can help someone else.
You're right, because there are moments where you feel that I can't change. This isn't fixable. And that's, a not true story. That's a story playing in your mind that is not true. I always say, as long as there's life, there's hope, right? If we have breath, there is hope. So any challenge, no matter how far down the rabbit hole you've gone, can come back around and be a success story. I mean, there are people who have, made bad choices and chose a life of crime early on and turn themselves around to be an inspiration to millions. There are people who have thought, this is the darkest moment of my life. How am I ever going to fix this? From legal problems to money problems to health problems to all of these problems. The world, I think we're here for each other, to support each other, to lift each other up. And I just don't believe there's not anything that if you get the right kind of help, there isn't a solution or a healing for, right?
Yep.
That we can come out on the other side somehow, even though it may seem so much bigger than our world is possible. It's interesting that depending on where you are in your life, even with finances, $1,000 bill can seem like, $1 billion, right? Where to a millionaire, that seems like, $5 out of his wallet, right?
Yep.
So, it's all about perspective. Your challenge may be too much for you, but with the help of others, it might be just what they needed. The gift of being able to help you with. That's the other thing people don't realize is when you do ask for help, you're not a burden. You're giving the gift to someone else to have a chance to be that person, that superhero that helps support and love you and solve the problem together, right? And I think that's a real blessing. That was something I had to learn too. It's hard for people to take help. A lot of people have a struggle with that, of any kind, help of any kind, right? Even help just, folding the laundry or clean it up. I had a friend who her mom's favorite thing was to come and clean, and it made her a little bit crazy. But I'm like, just take the help.
Yes, I've tried to learn to embrace that more now that I have a 2-year-old. I'm like, listen, I need some more help around here. Like, I need someone to do some dishes for me.
That's right. Recruit some help. And, it's always so much more fun to do chores and projects together and face challenges together and come out on the other side victorious. One of the things I love to ask my guests is books. I am a nut about books. I read and read. I listen to audiobooks. I love and love and love books. If you could share with me, and hopefully if you're watching in the chat, you could also share some favorite books, some books that inspired you personally for business, whatever joy they brought you. Share them in the chat so they can bring joy to someone else. Kayla, what book do you love?
It's right now. It's the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. It's the high five in the morning, and it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get out of bed. All those things.
I was just following her. I've been following her for a while on social media. I love her. She is very much like you would say your mother-in-law maybe is.
Yes.
Very blunt, right? And,
Yes.
and tells you like it is and says, suck it up and get out of bed. Just do it.
Yep. That's what I need. Like, that's what I need more of. Because since I was that like shy kind of a people pleaser, like I've gotten over most of that, but I still can have moments where I need somebody to like push me, like punch me, tell me to do it, like right, like. Yeah.
Well, I think that's where everybody has that point, and
Yes.
for something or another, right? I know there is great accountability groups. That's why we have coaches. That's why we have, all the people so that we can have that extra support we need to push us along, to help us hold ourselves accountable, to achieve really, really great things. So tell us the name of the book again one more time.
The 5-second rule.
5-second rule, and that's by Mel. Okay, we'll make sure we get that into the article and into the comments and chats so that you guys can find it. All right, we have had an amazing episode. Thank you for sharing with us and giving us your time. I always say we never know who we're going to inspire out there, or who might listen to this, or who might share it to someone, and some stranger may come across it, and it was exactly what they needed to hear today.
Yep.
I'm super excited. I am Jessica Koch. This is Profound Professionals. And if you are an industry expert, or you know someone who has passion and knowledge that's so valuable for others that they just need to share it, I would love to feature them here. So reach out to us, and maybe that's you. So before we say goodbye, what's the one last thing that you might like to share with our audience, Kayla?
I'm a quote fanatic. So,
right.
So you were born an original, die a copy. That one come to mind first. I love that. So
say it one more time.
You were born an original. Don't die a copy.
Oh, very good. Very good. So really reach in and be who you are. Be yourself, I love that. Beautiful. Well, thank you, everyone. And like I said, I'm Jessica Koch. Until next time, this is Profound Professionals, really reaching, meeting, and sharing with you amazing individuals who are making a truly profound impact on our world. All right, till next time.